back to my channel. I'm still living at my parents' house, so I'm filming right now in their basement, and I'm still trying to kind of get my bearings of like how to film with lighting and all these things. In my new house, I'm gonna have like a full YouTube setup, so that's gonna be really fun. It'll also take a lot of like annoying stress off of me. Today I am talking about eczema. This is a problem that so many people have, including myself. Funny enough, my eczema is always generally on my right hand, but as I'm filming this video, I'm kind of struggling on my neck, and I was like, should I not be filming an eczema remedy video when I'm like dealing with eczema in the moment? But the reality is that I do have some tips and tricks that have helped me so much, and I want to share them with you guys. Last week I had sort of polled on Instagram what people want the most for me to post on YouTube for this week, and most people, like usual, were like, we want makeup updates, we want skincare updates. But then there were so many people that were like, I really need help with eczema and we're struggling. So I was like, let me get a video out there that can actually help people, because that's really the core value of what I do on social media and on YouTube. Is really to help people better themselves and feel better. I live in Montreal. I know that I have followers everywhere, but it's winter. Like, winter has started. It snowed yesterday here in Montreal, hit below 0, and it's really cold and things are getting really dry. And at the change of season, whether it's getting humid or cold, for someone who has eczema, you're more susceptible to have a flare-up during this time of year. So I figured this is the perfect time to get a video out there, and I hope that this video is gonna help you guys. So my little backstory with eczema is that ever since I was a kid, I've had eczema. I used to get it here, sort of like in the corner of my elbow. My hands were always like the bad place, and then at certain points, weirdly enough, I would get it on my right foot, on the second toe, underneath my toe. I know how shitty it is to suffer from eczema. It is the worst thing ever, because it's not even visible to other people. But to be itchy, flaky, and uncomfortable, there's probably nothing worse. And it does play on your confidence levels. As a kid, I remember like being in summer camp, and I went to like a social, which is like a dance or whatever, and I remember someone like holding my hand, and he was like, oh, your hands are so rough. And I remember just being so insecure about having rough hands, aka eczema hands. As a kid, my mom, like, we used to use cortisone, and which is like the common treatment that a dermatologist would give you, and my mom would like make me put on the cortisone and then wear a cotton glove to sleep. So even when I went to summer camp, a big part of my childhood, I remember feeling insecure about the fact that I would like have to go to sleep wearing gloves. And for those of you who do suffer from eczema and you're watching this video, many of you are going to relate to that, because it's like, the thing about eczema is that once you have a flare-up, you're really itchy, and in your sleep, when you're not in control, you scratch. And it's like, what's the word? It's like a snowball effect. Like, you get the flare-up, you get itchy, and the next thing you know, you scratch it, so it just gets worse and worse. The glove thing is so important because it stops you from scratching, and it also allows the creams to penetrate into your hand. Obviously talking about eczema that's on the hands, because for me, that's always where my trouble area is. Of course, I know people have eczema all over and in different places. In general, with Instagram, with YouTube, I always share my tips and tricks, but I can really only speak on things that I deal with and that sort of affect me. It wouldn't really make sense for me to come on and be like, yeah, so eczema on your leg, because I've never had eczema on my leg. So I always kind of direct what I'm talking about to what's helped me in the areas that it's helped me. Obviously, then my suggestion would be that if you want to give it a try to the things that I suggest, let's hope that they work in other areas. I should like go over what eczema is. For anyone who doesn't know what eczema is, it is an autoimmune disorder. It's basically like dry, flaky, itchy, irritated skin. I don't really know, maybe I should have looked it up before this video. I don't know like the actual like scientific definition of what eczema is, but that's what it is. It's dry, itchy, flaky, uncomfortable skin, and it's fucking irritating. Like I said earlier, like any autoimmune disorder, whether the autoimmune disorder is more severe or less severe, it doesn't really matter. There is a huge connection to the gut, to your gut microbiome, and to keeping a really good amount of good bacteria lining your gut in order to fight off the bad bacteria. I have a full video here on YouTube about my gut health tips, so I'm gonna link it below, and it will like show up in this video, because I just realized that you can do that on YouTube, and I'm like super excited about it. So I'll link it here, because a lot of the tips will be repeated in this video, but you should also watch that video if you're someone who is suffering from any autoimmune disorder, bloating or skin problems or eczema. That video will definitely help you too. So for many people, eczema is something that they just get as a child and then it kind of goes away as they get older. I had it as a kid, on and off, you know, under the age of probably 12, 13. And funny enough, now with all the knowledge that I have, I kind of realized like I was someone who had strep throat all the time. Strep throat, you get put on antibiotics, and you know, there's a major connection to the gut microbiome and to autoimmune disorders such as eczema. And so now going back, I'm kind of like, I was probably really predisposed to eczema. The phone's ringing. I was probably really predisposed to eczema because I was constantly on antibiotics, and I'm sure that my gut was just off. Some people can have reactions in all different ways. I'm probably coming out in the form of eczema because no one else in my family really ever had it. Not that that means anything, but like I was always like the troubled one, you know? So I always am like, maybe it was because I had strep throat all the time and I was always on an antibiotic. Who really knows? I started to understand that wherever there was moisture on the skin, I could also be susceptible to eczema. So I would sort of eliminate that. Like in the summer, I wouldn't wear a watch. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, when I work out, I wear an Apple Watch, and I cannot wear the rubber band. I have to wear the mesh stainless band, because if I wear the rubber band, I'll literally have eczema around my wrist right away because it's like trapping in moisture and sweat from my workout. So the thing about eczema is trying to find what your trigger is. And sometimes finding what your trigger is can be really, excuse the language, but fucking annoying. I went through, like I said, years of eczema, and then it kind of subsided. And funny enough, it subsided in a time where I was really unhealthy and overweight, but I guess I just wasn't really stressed about anything and I was chilling. Once I did start to get healthier, started working out more, met Chris, got engaged, I guess there was a lot of stresses that were starting to happen in my life, and my eczema started to sort of slowly creep back. And I do talk about this in my weight loss video, I talk about it in my cystic acne video, I talk about it in my gut health video. I sort of started cutting out common allergens. Common allergens are things like soy, peanuts, eggs, gluten, dairy, refined sugars. What else are common allergens? Nightshade vegetables. Coffee is also a common allergen. I decided I'm gonna sort of do an elimination thing. So I would cut out these things for specific amounts of time and see what would happen. The only thing that ever really made my eczema go away and get better was when I cut out gluten and dairy. I've realized that gluten is my real trigger for eczema. Dairy is more of a trigger for me for acne and more like hormonal skin disorders like cystic acne. Gluten is my eczema trigger. Like just recently I went through IVF and I went through an ectopic pregnancy. If you guys haven't seen that video, you can go watch my fertility story. And I was given 2 doses of methotrexate, which is chemotherapy. And I was under a lot of stress, and you know, obviously like my whole gut and everything was off. I was having really bad eczema flare-up. You know, the minute that I sort of got off and like went really hard with the KGMTL challenge and really just like stopped eating all gluten altogether, it started to get better. And then furthermore, like last week I went to New York, or a week and a half ago I went to New York, and I was like sticking to the KGMTL challenge. I had like 2 meals that contained gluten in them because I was gonna like just indulge and enjoy myself. Instantly my eczema came back, probably because my gut is not at its peak right now. So right now I can't live that, like I usually live 90% of the time gluten, dairy free, blah, blah, blah. And the other 10% I kind of enjoy myself and have bites. Right now, I can't do that. I need to go 100% to really heal my gut, heal my eczema, heal all my little problems, and get everything back on track before I can get back to that balanced lifestyle of being able to have bites of like gluten and sugars and dairies here and there. I'm just not there right now. Is that I realize what my trigger is. So the first step to fighting eczema is knowing what triggers it. You know what triggers it, you know what to avoid, and you know how to not make it happen. Because the problem is that once you get triggered, like I said earlier in this video, you trigger the eczema. Problem is that it's itchy, flaky skin. So regardless of where it is, you go to bed at night and you scratch, and in your sleep, and if you have eczema, you know it feels so good when you're scratching. And then when you wake up and you're sore and you have like a little bit of bleeding, you're like, fuck. Because the problem is that once you've done that, you've done damage, and now you have to heal the skin. And healing skin that's already itchy, flaky, and irritated is not easy. So that's the point of this video. The point of the video is to tell you my whole story, and and sort of what eczema is. And now I'm gonna give you all the tips and tricks that have really, really helped me keep my eczema. Earlier, cut out allergens. Figure out what your trigger is. The most common allergens, like I said earlier, are soy, peanuts, dairy, gluten, refined sugars, nightshade vegetables, coffee and alcohol, and corn. So either go get an allergy test, maybe with a naturopath or with an allergist. If you have any intolerances to any of these things, more often than not, there are so many people that suffer from eczema, and we talk on Instagram and then they come back and they're like, I went and did an allergy test and I fully have an intolerance to gluten. Pretty much everyone has an intolerance to gluten, and if you watch my gut health video and my KGMTL challenge video, you'll understand why gluten in North America is just not what it's supposed to be. Like, I could go to Europe and I could eat all the gluten and get zero eczema because there's no GMOs in the gluten. So just don't eat gluten. So try to cut out common allergens and see if that works for you. And then once you pinpoint what it is, it's a really good way to not get flare-ups. Second thing is supplement properly. Like I said, a lot of really good supplement suggestions will be in my gut health video because healing your gut is everything. Something that I got a tip on a while back was making sure to have enough fish oil in your diet. We do not get enough omega-3s and DHAs in our system. We actually have too much omega-6s, which are really inflammatory, and we need more of the omega-3s to sort of balance it out. The foods that most of us are eating, processed foods, are really high in omega-6s and really low in omega-3s. And unfortunately, the waters are polluted. So even if you eat fish all the time, you're just not getting the right spectrum of fish oil that you need. So I have been taking Symbiotica DHA. It is unbelievable. This is actually a vegan source of DHA mixed with astaxanthin, which is another amazing antioxidant. This stuff is fantastic for everything, but really, really helpful for skin disorders, both acne, eczema, and the whole 9 yards. So I will link it below in this video. I do have a discount code for 15 off, but this stuff, I take 2 droppers a day and I find it to be fantastic. And having enough omega-3 during flare-ups will really help speed up the healing process. So in general, don't wait for the flare-up, just always take a DHA or omega-3 supplement every single day. Another really amazing supplement that everyone should be taking either way is vitamin D3 and K2. The reality is that when you go back to sort of the beginning of time or evolution, this wasn't the world that we were living where we live inside all day. Sunlight is really important. You can get it in foods like cod liver oil, sardines, milk, eggs, and things like that, but a lot of those are common allergens, and like, I don't eat sardines, I don't really eat cod liver. So I supplement every day, vitamin D3, K2. It's so good for your whole body function, but especially for eczema, it's really, really beneficial. A bit of controversy over how many IUs of vitamin D one should be taking in a day. I take 5,000. That's what a naturopath told me to take, but you know, it's up to you. This is the one I like from Dr. Mercola. Each of my supplements has been life-changing for me. Someone where weather changes really affect you. Like if you're someone like right now it's November, and if you're really like don't want to get out of bed and you're always low energy, you might just be really low in vitamin D. Most people are really low in vitamin D. It's like one of the #1 deficiencies that people have. So look into vitamin D3 and K2 together is the best bioavailable form for proper absorption and for your body to absorb it properly. I will link all the supplements below on this video. Okay, this tip, I hate when people say this to me, even with like the getting pregnant thing. People are always like, just don't stress, just be calm. Like every single issue in life, people are like, just don't stress. Well, when you have your whole hand is like covered in an eczema flare up, sorry, but it's stressful. So like, I hate when people say that, but the truth is you gotta find a way to de-stress. So as much as like, I get that that's a really annoying piece of advice, whether it's exercise, whether it's meditation, whether it's walk, I don't know what it is, whether it's sex, like you do what's good for you, but figure out ways to bring your stress levels down, because you could legitimately eat, you could grow your own vegetables. You live in like a Himalayan salt house in the middle of like the healthiest rainforest. Like, I don't know, you could be the healthiest person alive, but if you're stressing out and you're stressed, that is going to kill your good bacteria. You need to find ways to reduce your stress. So do you, boo? Figure it out, but reduce that stress. So obviously I've been talking a lot about how the connection to the gut and to autoimmune disorders. So, you know, the #1 thing for good bacteria, probiotics. I absolutely love the Nova probiotics. I take a really, really high CFU count. This is 165 CFUs, especially during the winter, during cold flu season. I really like to take a higher dose of probiotics. An excellent company. I love the ingredients. This is actually also a vegan one. I'm not vegan, by the way, but this is a vegan one. It's a local company here, and it's just to be trusted. It's made in small batches. I also love cultured coconut, which is another probiotic, but that is more of like a liquid that you take a tablespoon a day. This still is my favorite. It's easy. It doesn't need to be refrigerated. It's out in the description of my video. They also make all different CFU counts. If you want to start at a bit of a lower dose, that's up to you. Also eating probiotic rich foods, things like bone broth, fermented foods, collagen, gelatin. Again, all gone over and linked in my gut health video. Okay, major tip, major key. If you are someone that suffers from eczema or any skin disorder, acne, whatever it is, do not use scented detergents. If you are washing your clothes and your sheets in a scented detergent, especially ones that are abrasive, things like Tide and Gain and Persil and all these things, you gotta stop. You guys should be using natural detergents. I use one that's local, but Method makes a good one. 7th Generation makes a good one. I'll link some below. You really want to be using unscented natural detergents because you're sleeping in these sheets and they can really, really agitate your skin. The amount of times that people who deal with acne or eczema or psoriasis or skin disorders, and I give them the tip to like cut all scented things out of their life, they're like, oh my God, that changed everything. It really just is not good for you. It's very abrasive on the skin. So if you're already sensitive, you gotta cut it. Also, scented lotions, scented skincare things. Fragrance is not your friend. So inside synthetic fragrances and even natural fragrances, you don't know what's actually in there. There could be 5 million shitty ingredients. See things, cut it out. Even if you're really suffering badly from eczema, don't use perfume for a while. And if you are gonna use perfume, try to go with something more natural. Fragrance is not your friend. Let's talk about topical. Typically, dermatologists always prescribe cortisone. And yeah, let's be honest, it works, but then it rebounds and it comes right back. A Band-Aid. You're getting, the relief, and then the minute you stop using it, everything comes back. We wanna get to the root problem. We wanna find, like I said, the trigger. We wanna stop it from happening. And if it does happen, better to use a natural alternative. I have contemplated not giving this tip because I legitimately want to come up with some sort of product with this, and I might. There are 2 things that have helped me immensely. For the past few weeks, you guys have seen me on Instagram wearing these blue gloves, and everyone is like, why the fuck are you wearing blue doctor gloves? It's like almost creepy and a bit serial killery. Method to the madness, people. Black seed oil. I take this every single day. It's in my allergies videos, which by the way, it does help with allergies. It's amazing for eczema. I take it orally every day, a teaspoon a day with my breakfast, but using it topically has been life-changing for me. I'm gonna insert a photo here of when I came back from the Dominican Republic like a month ago. My eczema was at an all-time bad. Within 5 days of using black seed oil and then putting on a nitrile glove, this is a non-latex nitrile glove. I will link these as well. 5 days of sleeping with this and wearing it around my house, unbelievable. Like honestly, unbelievable. So, black seed oil is extremely anti-inflammatory. It literally kills everything. It penetrates into the skin and it is healing. So take it orally, put it on topically, try it out. It has saved my life. Even yesterday, my neck started to get dry. I put black seed oil, I slept with it. Unbelievable. Take a little bit in your hand, and you really, like a little goes a long way. Take a little in your hand. If you have hand eczema, that is anyway, or you put it wherever it is. Rub it in. You'll get used to the smell. And then you glove up. And that's it. And by the way, if you have eczema on your hands and you're someone who cooks a lot or you're washing dishes a lot, wear gloves because you're always aggravating the eczema if not. And I only have it on my right hand, so that's why sometimes you'll see me with one glove on, one glove on. Really helpful to put underneath the glove is Manuka honey. Manuka honey in general is super antimicrobial, antibacterial, and really, really healing. Manuka honey is about like 30 times stronger than regular honey. So Manuka honey, you can take it orally. I do when I'm sick. I do if I have allergies. It like kills everything. But when you put it topically onto eczema, it's also super healing, very calming. Like I said, antimicrobial, antibacterial, antiseptic. It kills all the germs, and it is really, really soothing. So Manuka honey is another awesome tip that I can give you. Last but not least, I feel like I don't film a skin issue video without showing this. Egyptian Magic, which contains a lot of the bee properties and the honey properties. It has bee propolis, it has royal jelly, it has honey, it has beeswax, it has bee pollen. A lot of the things in here are super antimicrobial, super moisturizing, super, like I said, antibacterial, etc., etc. So this is also super helpful if you have eczema or if you have a flare-up. It will not get rid of your eczema, but it will definitely moisturize the skin, make it feel better, and reduce the flare-up. And then the last thing, if you are someone who gets eczema on their body, this is a black seed oil bar of soap. This could be really, really helpful to you. You, again, with the soap, should not be using like Irish Springs or Dove. You really want to, again, fragrance is not your friend pro eczema. Like, it's just gonna feed the eczema. So this is a really, really good option. Black seed oil soap, I will link it below. If you're someone that gets it on your body, or if you know someone, actually smells really good. Share the wealth, or use a natural soap. I will link this one and my favorite unscented natural. I feel like I really got it all out there. I'm gloved up. I gave you guys my history with eczema, a few tips with foods, some supplements, and some topical products. This is an all-natural way to heal your eczema. I hope it works for you. Try it out. If it works for you, please leave a comment below and let me know. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel. I feel so weird with the glove doing this. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and I will see you guys next week.